Our voices are heard, but they're not necessarily listened to. Many individuals believe that the only form of genocide we faced were the residential schools, and that's simply not true. For decades, we've been subjected to displacement, starvation, and overall abuse at the hands of the Canadian government. So I just wish that this part of history was not overlooked, because the irony is that it's not history at all. It's still ongoing to this day. And the recognition of more than just residential schools in the 60s scoop, in my eyes, will bring so much more progress to reconciliation than what is currently being facilitated.
How do you feel about participating in the national anthem every morning at school? Immediately, I think of the word awkward. When I hear the national anthem every morning, I feel awed. For my entire schooling career, from kindergarten until grade 12, every morning at school began with the Canadian anthem, acknowledging the country of Canada, but not the stolen land that it was founded upon. I find it ironic how the lyrics of this song even say that Canada is our home and native land. Although land acknowledgements have become more popular, they are still not held up to the same value that the Canadian anthem is within schools, and most kids don't even understand why we participate in them, when in reality, respecting the stolen land that we gather on should be higher on the priority list. To me, it just feels really awkward to stand up and honor this country every morning when its colonial effects still harm me and my community to this day.
So I would say, like, the land acknowledgement that we listen to in school it's like a very broad statement, and to hear O Canada play after that, it almost contradicts, because in O Canada, the first couple lines are our home and native land, which it just is not. And I think to really heal the relationship with Indigenous people, we have to incorporate them in our culture and not just like say, oh, we respect yours, but we're going to keep ours. I think we just have to kind of become one whole and like strong together.
Oh yeah, a lot of teachers. This was a big thing last year, especially last year. There's a thing going on, Reconciliation Day or something like that, and we thought it was best for us to sit down. A lot of the teachers were mad at us for not standing for O Canada, which like some part I can kind of like understand, because they've been standing for that their whole life, and it's part of them, I guess. I didn't want to stand because I felt like it was disrespectful to us Indigenous people, just to all of us. Like I always been told my whole life to stand for O Canada, and I never really enjoyed standing for it. Yeah, I'm finally happy to like be able to have my own say in it and do what I want, you know, and to respect my people.
How I feel about participating in the national anthem is that it's been quite a while since I've been at a school that has made me stand for the national anthem in the morning. I feel that if I were in a position where I was forced to participate in it now, like I had to in high school, it would feel patronizing and disrespectful to stand for it. My thoughts on the national anthem is that I feel that it's a tool used to reinforce patriotism and nationalism in its citizens.
It's like every day you have the anthem and you have to like be a part of it. Like you have to, like, you can't talk, and they have it as such a serious and like, I don't know, serious and important thing. Even when you're not even Canadian, like if you like come into the country or like you've lived here but your family's like, say like Indian, Jamaican, Asian, you still have to like be a part of that, and you have literally no choice. And I feel like that's not the best for people who don't feel included. It's like you don't feel included, but you also have to sing the anthem every morning.
Well, the way I view O Canada is that, I mean, I've always viewed it as like a to each their own kind of thing. Personally, I don't stand for the national anthem, because to me, the national anthem stands for genocide. It stands for a lot of this colonial pain that our people have gone through. And to me, it resembles like a sort of country that's trying to hide its wrongs or to just brush it away. I mean, some government officials bring it up, but you know, it's not the overwhelming majority that do. So I personally don't stand for the national anthem, but for me, we live like, if one of the main things about living in this part of the world is freedom of expression, then if you choose to stand for the national anthem, you know, that's nothing. I don't have that against you. But for me, I've never really had any issue sitting down with O Canada that some of my other peers might have had, possibly due to the fact that I'm not as dark complected as them. It might be the sort of lighter advantage that I have, the white passing privilege or something. And I understand that fully. A lot of First Nations people don't stand for the anthem, but there's others that, like non-Indigenous people, who don't stand for the anthem either. And what surprised me is, I know it's kind of related, but it isn't. For the first time, like ever in our school's history, we got to play the Willistok song, which is sort of a song for our people. I stood up for that, but what I noticed is that those very same people who don't stand up for O Canada never stood up for the Willistok song, which it threw me off at first, because I thought, hey, these people support us, right? So here they are sitting to our song, and I'm like, do you guys really support us? But then again, I thought about it, it's to each their own, because if I went up to that person and said, look, you stand for this or else you're racist, that'd be the same thing as some person, some patriotic Canadian person telling me to stand for the national anthem. Again, it's to each their own. We like, one of the key virtues of our nation is to express ourselves freely, and so I wholeheartedly believe that. And so it's all about freedom of expression, freedom of choice, but about the pressuring. I'm glad you brought that up. It's unfair for teachers to pressure students, especially those who are impacted by residential schools, because our generations are impacted by it. Our generations have parents and grandparents who went to residential school or day school. Well, in Tobic, I mean, it's more the grandparents, but the parents definitely, they went to day school, and like when Mossel School was first built, there wasn't enough teachers, so they had to utilize the nuns. And of course, they brought with them all their policies and stuff like that, and all their torment and the treatment. Like my mother even went through it, and it kind of echoes to the generations, and it leads to us, because they grew up with that sort of notion of, like, being cold towards younger ones, when really our values and our traditions teach it differently. We are supposed to love our children and care for our children. When our children do something wrong, we're not supposed to punish them. We're not supposed to hit them. I mean, I wouldn't say punishment, but discipline. We still discipline, but we make them go sit somewhere and think about what they did. Talk to them about it. Have dialogue. It may get heated, but ultimately it will come to a resolve. But the nuns and the priests didn't understand that, and so they beat our elders. It was hard for them. My grandparents been through it, and again, it's echoed through the way they kind of were cold to the younger ones. They've lightened up now, but it's still a struggle. And so when a teacher pressures especially a young Indigenous student, to stand up for the anthem, I don't like that. They shouldn't do that. It makes me mad that hearing about my peers being told off for not standing up. Sorry, for not standing up for the anthem. And quite frankly, I think it's blatant ignorance, because they're ignorant of the struggles of our people and what we had to go through. And yeah, I just don't like how teachers are doing that. It just doesn't sit well with me.